Well, hi guys. Um, well, I'm not going to be able to join you because I am still in Chicago awaiting the birth of my grandchild. And I decided, since my daughter's taken a little longer than we planned to have the baby, that I thought I'd just stay here and see it through to the end so I can welcome him into the world. So Dale Linton is going to be taking over class. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much, Dale, for doing this. I really appreciate it. Um, so here's some stuff I just guys want you guys to start you off with for class today. Um, uh, First of all, with respect to quizzes, I've graded your quizzes. I've got them here with me in Chicago. What I'll do is I will go ahead and pass those back to you on our trip. I'll also pick up the quizzes that are due today. So if you have them to turn in, go ahead and turn them into Dale, and he'll leave them on my desk. And if you send them out on Blackboard like you usually do, then I'll get them and I'll have them graded and I'll have them ready to hand back to you guys on the Chicago trip. Um, so anyway, I think that should take care of the quizzes. Same with the minute reports from today. When you're done with them, just give them to Dale, or if you leave them on Blackboard, that's fine also. Next thing is the Chicago trip info. I posted it to Blackboard earlier on Tuesday, so you should have all the information, the itinerary. Um, Today I need to get your phone numbers. So if you would please send a sign-up sheet around and just write your name and your cell phone number on it for two reasons. First of all, if I need to get a hold of you Friday because you're not there, then I need to call you. So, but you will all be there at 7:30 at the Kresge Center, AM. Also, if we're on the trip and I need to get a hold of you, then obviously I'll need your phone number. The itinerary has my cell phone and has Dale's cell phone. So if you just go ahead and print that out and carry it with you, or if you have a mobile device, you just want to download it to that, have it available so that you can call either one of us if you need to. Dale won't necessarily be with us on every part of the trip, but obviously I'll be there. So that's what you can use to call us. Okay, next thing on the minute reports for today, okay, for the polling question, I'm afraid that the bunkers don't really work well with the clicker software. So you'll have to just do it the old-fashioned way. If you want to do a polling question, just have people raise their hands and get the information that way. Sorry about that, but I still do want you to devise a polling question. So I think you've all done that, hopefully. So that requirement is still there, but you'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way. So you'll make that work. I'm pretty confident. Okay, next thing. Um, One thing I want you to keep in mind is that everybody hates a refugee. We've talked about this before, and hopefully you've seen a little bit of this now. Um, we've got Jewish refugees from Europe. Okay, you think about World War II ended, there was a Holocaust. Jews were displaced in Germany, in Poland, in Russia, in Southern Europe. Um, they didn't have any place to go. And when the war ended, they didn't want to go back to Germany. And you don't blame them, really, do you? So where were they going to go? Well, if you notice in the video we looked at Monday, one of the things they wanted to do is they wanted to go to the Middle East. They wanted to go to Palestine to set up a Zionist state. And the problem is the British did not want them to go there. They had set up an agreement with the Arabs to not allow Jewish resettlement because the Arabs did not want to be overrun by Jews. However, the Jews felt like they didn't have any other place to go. So you saw illegal immigration into Palestine from Jews that wanted to settle there. And then what happened is, as the Jews settled and as the United Nations turned over the land to Israel, you saw that dispossessed a lot of Palestinians. So suddenly we now have Palestinian refugees that were just like Elias Shakur and his family, that were no longer able to live where they were living, and they had to go figure out where they were going to go, and so they were displaced also. It kind of reminded me of something. Back in the Civil War times, one of the thoughts was that if instead of just freeing the slaves, if Lincoln had offered reparations to slave owners, kind of like they did in England, meaning that if you were a slave owner, rather than your slaves are free, you just lose, quote, the money that you invested in the slave, you actually got paid so that you were getting paid to free the slave rather than just have the slave be free. That would kind of lessen the economic blow. And I kind of wonder if maybe something like that had been worked out in Palestine so that families like Shakur weren't just kicked off their land, but if there truly was going to be a division of the land and Jews were going to be in this part and Palestinians was going to be in this part, then what they would do is they would actually purchase the land from the Palestinians so that the Palestinian families, even though they may not be happy about having to move, at least they had some money and they would be able to go and buy land and kind of get a better start somewhere else. Um, so I kind of think that we run into this problem over and over again where people hate refugees. We talked about it earlier. Even Katrina, our own refugees in the United States, and people hated them when they ended up in Texas and other places. Um, there just seems to be something about refugees. Nobody likes them. And that's been the problem, one of the problems in the Middle East. So just one of the things to think about when you think about the question of how can we have peace in the Middle East, I think addressing the issue of refugees, and to be fair, you have to address it from both sides, Jews and Palestinians. I think that has to be part of your thinking. So I just wanted to kind of prime that pump a little bit. Okay, finally, one of the things that you're going to do today is you're going to look at some more of the Compassionate Listening DVD. You saw a segment with Elias Shakur the other day, and we're going to watch some more segments today. And what I want you to remember, and here's your college word for the day, is that this compassionate listening came on the heels of an intifada, which was an uprising by the Palestinians. What happened is there was a proposal back in the late 70s called the Camp David Accords, where the leader of Egypt, Anwar Sadat, and the leader of Israel, Menachem Begin, and Begin, by the way, was a former commander of the Irgun that we talked about on Monday, they both agreed to have peace. And one of the things that Israel agreed to do is return the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, and Egypt agreed to recognize Israel's right to exist as a state. And Egypt took a lot of flack from other Arab countries for this, but it sort of made Egypt and Israel the first peaceful nations in the Middle East, and then Jordan followed soon after that. Later on, about 15 years later, there were another set of accords negotiated by President Bill Clinton, and those are called the Oslo Accords, and that process called for a division of the land and to allow a Palestinian state. And one of the things that happened is that there was disagreement over where the boundaries for that state were going to be. And were they going to follow the old 1948 division, or is it going to follow the division that includes Jerusalem that happened after the 1967 war? Naturally, the Jews wanted the second thing I just mentioned. They wanted all the land, including Jerusalem as the capital, conquered in the 1967 war, while the Palestinians wanted the original division that the United Nations set up in 1948. And you'll see further as we get into Netanyahu's book that the Jews felt like the 1948 division was indefensible. Anyway, so in 1993, the Oslo Accords it set the framework up for a free Palestinian state, and also a Jewish state, and mutual recognition of each other's right to exist. But then they got lost in the details, and Benjamin Netanyahu, whose book we're reading, Durable Peace, became the prime minister in the late 1990s, and things started to kind of fall apart because they couldn't agree on which set of borders there were going to be. And there were other things. Israel wanted the Palestinians to renounce terrorism completely and use their police authority in the Palestinian territories to go after terrorists, and they felt like the Palestinians were not effective in doing that. And things got rough, and Israel finally decided they were just going to build a wall around everything. And that led to this thing called the Intifada, or the uprising by Palestinians in 2000, which was kind of like a guerrilla resistance against Israeli forces, and especially against Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories. So the Compassionate Listening DVD is coming after this had already happened. So when they refer to an Intifada or an uprising or trouble or violence, that's what they're talking about. The DVD was made around 2001, 2002. The Intifada started in 2000, so it's coming on the heels of that. So I just wanted you to have a little bit of context for that. So we're gonna listen today to, if we can, up to 3 of those videos, and I want you to listen to what each person's saying. Think about where they're coming from. And then you discuss whether you think that what they're saying is reasonable, and what do you think the right response would be or should be to what they're talking about. And by the right response, you can think of it a couple different ways. The right response could be how the Jews should respond. The right response could be how the Palestinians should respond. But also, the right response should be how a Christian would respond. Or maybe, if you want to think of it this way, how Christian America should respond. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day today. Again, I'm sorry I can't be with you. I will be with you Friday, 7:30 a.m., right outside the Kresge Center. Okay, we'll depart then. And Andrew, I'm going to get together with you and tell you where you and I will hook up so we can get the people mover you're going to drive. That's all, guys. Hey, see you later.